Hello and welcome back, and that is right, there is another new Synology that we've stumbled across here while trawling the web. It is the Synology DS2422 Plus. It's a new Ryzen 12 bay from Synology. It's a desktop part of their big old tower SMB series from them. It's another entry into that Ryzen embedded processor family line, and I've got to say, this is one where we're really going to see a huge amount of storage and serving as a follow-up to the DS2419 Plus that came before it. And again, I say before, it is still readily available, of course. The DS2419 Plus, although popular, was still one of the last Intel Atom-based NASs from Synology. And when they moved over in early 2020 into AMD Ryzen-based solutions, I think a number of people, though they were looking at the 6-bay and the 8-bay and some of the rack mount devices, a number of people were sitting there counting the days, waiting for this big 12-bay desktop solution. A huge amount of storage potential throughout its 12 SATA bays and expandability with a further 12 bays with the new DX1222 expansion solution tapped on there in the mini SAS HD connection. This is a solution for those that are prioritising storage capacity more than anything. You've still got access to a great 64-bit x86-based processor there. So again, your virtualization, your multimedia, your widespread backups, your SaaS-based software solutions, all a bit built in, and of course DSM7. But again, storage is the big thing on this device. Now, it is the new 12-bay solution from in the disk station series from Synology there. It's arriving with a Ryzen V1500B quad-core based processor there. So it's an embedded Ryzen, so server-grade processor there. It's a quad-core 2.2 gigahertz processor. We've talked about it on the channel a lot. We've done a lot of testing on this particular processor a lot, with a myriad of all the different services from Synology and a few third-party ones as well. It also arrives with 4 gig of DDR4 ECC memory there, so error code correction or error correcting code, depending on how you want to approach that. Memory inside that SODIMM as well. There are official upgrades from Synology on that as well, which allow you to upgrade the memory up to a total 48 gigabytes. Again, weird number there. On top of that, this system also arrives with a PCIe expansion slot, which is going to be great news given it's one of the few desktop solutions supporting that Ryzen processor that doesn't have M2 NVMe caching inside. Synology have really made a big thing on M2 NVMe caching in DSM7 on a number of their modern desktop solutions, but this one doesn't have that. It does have the PCIe upgrade card slot that allow you to utilize a number of their solutions, such as the E1020 Ti. That's that combo card. It's got 2 NVMe slots inside and a 10 gigabit Ethernet port there. It's great stuff, that. Or you can go for a dedicated cache only card, the M2D20 there. But it's worth remembering that that really isn't it. You can move away from SSD caching and concentrate predominantly on that network upgrade option there, because let's face it, with 12 SATA bays inside, you're going to saturate some serious network connectivity there. So you can bung in some of the fiber channel cards. Synology brought out a recent 25 GBE FC card there, but there's also multi-port 10G cards as well. So again, that's a great way to make the most of that enormous amount of throughput potential and push it through to your network there all the way through. Now, you're going to need that because the system unfortunately does arrive with 1 GBE port on it. Now, I know a number of you are going to hear that and go, oh my God, I get it. 1 GBE is still not exactly exciting in 2021 going into 2022, which is what this series is part of. And I'm kind of surprised, particularly at the SMB level, that Synology is still utilising 1 GBE. When we talked about in the video prior to this with the DS3622xs Plus, I talked about how that system had 1 GBE, but it also had 10 GBE on board. So you let it go. But on this system, I'm a little disappointed to see 1 GBE still being prevalent on this. I get it. Not a lot of businesses are taking advantage of 2.5 GBE. The uptake isn't as sharp as obviously 1 GBE being ubiquitous and 10 GBE just being right there and the affordability coming down. But still, would have been nice to see maybe something more playful with those network ports being available there. There's also USB 3.2 Gen 1, so 5 gigabit connected ports there. So again, these are predominantly for storage. They can also be used for UPSs and a few network appliances, but DSM7 has kind of reined in a lot of USB supported peripherals on these ports. And again, a lot of that is to do with the architecture that's outside of their control. So again, I'm not going to give them too much crap for that. But as this is part of the Plus series of devices, not only does that mean you get your 3 years of warranty, of course, which can be expanded to 5 years with the license upgrade, but you've also got access to Synology Hybrid RAID. That's right, the fluid RAID system, and probably one of the unsung heroes of the Synology platform. I don't think gets anywhere near as much credit as it should. The ability to mix and match drives. Now, obviously, in a traditional RAID, or when you set this up for the first time, I would never recommend that you populate this 12 bay with different drives. That would be madness. Short of maybe using 2.5-inch SATA SSDs for a little bit of easygoing starter cache, that would be great. But I would never recommend populating this device fully or partially on day one with mixed drives. But as the years go on and your workload increases or your capacity increases, one way or another, you're going to have to introduce new drives, potentially within this product's lifespan. You never know. Now, when you do that, the price point of hard drives, the architecture of drives, the drive models disappear and get refreshed and come back. So the ability to either introduce larger hard drives or different hard drives actually becomes quite appealing during a system's life. And SHR, unlike traditional RAID, which will always class every single drive as the smallest available capacity regardless, SHR, once you include more than 2 of mixed drives, so in this 12 bay, as long as at least 2 of these drives are larger than the others, it will start embracing the larger available capacity and allow your large RAID configuration to have a bigger capacity. Now, obviously, this system, as mentioned, can be expanded, and utilizing that expansion device, the DX1222, that allows you to bolt on 12 additional bays of storage. Another area where the flexibility of this RAID will actually become a lot more appealing later in the system's life. And don't overlook that given that this supports SATA traditional hard drives right now, which are available in 18 TB with 20 TB just dipping around there on the horizon, the result is this is a huge amount of storage potential in one desktop chassis. Now, we have talked about previous 12 bays on this channel, and we've always been impressed by them. The price point is always a little bit scary, with the previous unit to this arriving at around £1,400 or about $1,750, give or take, if you shop around with or without tax. Now, I think we're going to see a similar price point here as we've seen with the strategy in the 6 and the 8 bays and the rack mounts in the Ryzen series. I'm not going to talk too much about software in this video, largely because I've done a lot of DSM-7 stuff, and I've done a full review of DSM-7, and I've also almost completely finished a DSM-7 revisit 3 to 4 months on video that's going to be live on the channel very, very soon. I think this is a little bit of a safe refresh of the 2419 right now. From what we're seeing, I think it's definitely a better choice. I would definitely choose it if I had to pick between the 2 of them there, but it's not a crazy, exciting, sexy choice upgrade there. When I've talked about upgrades from the previous iteration of the Atom series, a lot of those refreshes that went from Atom and into the Ryzen series were going from a much older Atom, the C2538, which is a lovely jump up. This is going from the C3538, so a little bit more modern Atom there, or a Denverton or Deverton, whatever they called it. And this one, although maybe a year ago I would have thought, oh, great, AMD, right, yeah, great, fantastic. We've kind of got used to this CPU being in the Synology systems, and therefore it has made this release, although interesting, a little bit predictable there. And it would have been nice to see those network ports get a little bit of a kick up in the air. But let's hold off any kind of full judgment until we either get our full review done on this box or we get some extensive testing done. Because nevertheless, this is an interesting 12 bay, because I've always liked Synology's embracing of these 12 bays for a brand that can often be seen to play it quite safe to make sure their platform is as stable as possible. Occasionally we see exciting little spikes from them, like the combo card, like their embracing of NVMe SSD cache before anyone else, and the embracing of these great 12-bay desktop models, an enormous amount of storage potential arriving in quite a, frankly, comparatively petite case. But let's stay tuned till we hear more about it. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, click like. It helps me understand what I do right in these videos, and it makes each video better than the last. And of course, if you want to learn more about this device as more information lands, we've got links to the full breakdown of all the information, and we're going to slowly put together a guide of the new 2022 series of Synology NASs, linked to in the description at NAS Compares. Take advantage of the free advice section as well, completely free, and by 2 humans, me and Eddie the web guy, answer every email. We're humans, it might take us a day or 2 extra to do it, but we answer everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.